Hello the internet! It is Saturday the 16th of December 2023 and welcome back to the channel. It's been a few weeks for me on a live stream and a lot of you will already know the reason why that is. That's the point of this very stream, to explain what happened, to explain how it happened, and to illustrate how you can avoid it happening to you. Now what I'm talking about is the thumbnail for this stream. Your air conditioning unit should not be spewing water out in what I'd consider a torrent or a waterfall. That should not happen from your air conditioning unit. It happened from mine. I want to explain exactly how that happened. I want to show you it happening because I shot video of it. I want to tell you about the damage, and then I want to tell you about how you can simply avoid this happening. Consider this a little PTA to help you from me at the expense. But first of all, let's show you what happened here, or let's tell you the story. So I'm on the east coast of Australia. A heavy weather pattern came through, a lot of rain coming from the northeast that's directly out to the coast and to the north, and that means there's going to be driving rain hitting the northeast side of the house. About 2 weeks earlier, had an air conditioning unit installed right here, right above my big fat hideous head. It's on right now. It's cooling the room down. It's going to be 30 today. What is the temperature right now? That's irrelevant. It's warm. It's going to get hotter. Got an AC unit installed. The night of the storm, I hear rain, and I'm tired, right? I've been up early working the late shift, and I'm come home and I'm sleeping. I hear rain. I'm like, oh, this is cozy. I'm having a cozy sleep. You know when you can hear rain outside? It starts getting heavier and heavier. I'm like, oh shit, that's a heavy storm. Then in my hazy slumber state, I'm thinking, I hear rain inside this room. I'm like, what? And I wake up half awake, half asleep, and I'm like, nah, I can hear water. So I turn on the light, and what I see was frightening. The amount of water coming in my air conditioning unit was ridiculous. It was gushing. It was a waterfall. I've got photos of it. Let me bring them up right about here. Let me make this larger. This is the water coming in from the very units we're discussing. I want to show you a video because that does highlight it even harder. Where's my video? I'll just bring this in here. I think it'll come up in front. Nope, it came up on my laptop screen. Awesome. I'll just drag it over here, Skins. Check this out. Bloody hell. Ah, it's all down here. Oh, jeez. Damn, right? That's a lot of water. Wow. If I pause that right there, what you can see in the distance is my streaming setup where I'm sitting right now streaming. And so, yes, all that water is not going to play well with gear. Awesome. Ironically, that's my wetsuit, my steamer that I had dried out ready for next winter. And all that shit got wet. And then power boards. And as you can see, danger, danger, danger. Pretty frightening. Let me show you some still photos. This one here, the water coming down onto this very desk, which my setup is sitting on. These still photos will explain it even more, I guess. That's the amount of H2O pouring in. This is underneath my desk I'm sitting at right now. I know, my cable management leaves a lot to be desired. It's a fact. We've got that photo. We got this photo here. I like this one because you can see the amount of water gushing in. Whoops, I just went forward. How did I do that? Oh, they dragged by 2. Yeah, I mean, chronic, right? There is a second video I've got here. I'll just crank that up as well. What's this video? Oh, this just shows you the amount of water coming in again. I just want to show it to you. We'll crank that up. With all the damage that that's going to cause. So there's my streaming setup. And that's a freaking lot of... Hey, Charlotte's in the chat. Ali, good morning, Venom.
Bloody hell.
Was it classed as an act of God? That's what Charlotte's referring to there is insurance will often claim or state that they're not going to cover any of it because it's an act of God. I'll cut to why this happened, and then I'll talk about the remedy. But just to cut a long story short, no, insurance wasn't involved because the excess was more than what it would cost to replenish. Essentially, this room had to be gutted, and then the carpets needed to be replaced, and the excess was more than what that would cost. So they do say that, and that's how they get out of it, but that's not what happened in this instance. So let me tell you why this happened. And it's quite simple. When you have an air conditioning unit installed, there is obviously an outlet pipe from the unit to somewhere, like an out. It's not an ingest, it's an outgest, an egress. It's an outlet for water. So when air conditioning cools the climate down, it creates condensation in the form of water. And that water builds up and needs to be ejected. Now, typically that's via a little conduit pipe. And that conduit pipe can go anywhere it likes, wherever the installer decides. In this instance, and I'll show you the layout because I took photos, the installer patched that outlet pipe into a downpipe. Now the downpipe goes from the roof down the side of the wall, so 9 feet from the top of the pitched angled roof, gathers all that water coming off the roof into a gutter, into a downpipe. The downpipe then goes down the wall 9 feet underground and then goes willy-nilly into the sewer. I don't know where it goes from that point. I just know it's away from the house. In this instance, there was so much water that came down in that storm that, I mean, it was, to coin an Australian phrase, it was fucking raining cats and dogs, mate. It was pissing down, like really, really heavy. All of that water went into that drain pipe. Unbeknownst, hey Elsa, how you doing, man? I saw the post on Discord. Hope nothing got too damaged. I'll get to that as well. I'll get to the damage. Unbeknownst to me, that drain pipe doesn't actually work. So it doesn't quite remove all of the water. And I've never noticed that before because it's never been that amount of water. So you could say, well, when it rains, what happens? I don't know, because I never noticed anything. We just assumed that the drain pipes worked, right? We never saw anything different. Never had an AC unit plugged into it, like patched into it. So it's never been an issue. It might have been filling up before, and you can hear where this is going, right? This drain pipe filled up, went all the way up, because these AC units, they're installed off the ground. They're at about the 8-foot mark on the wall, on the outside of the, right behind me, on the outside of this wall. They're 8 feet off the ground, or it's 8 feet off the ground. So there is the patch pipe for this outlet, and it patches into a down pipe, which filled all the way up from the bottom, filled 9 feet up into that outlet pipe, pushed back into that pipe, and then water will do what water will do, and water looks for the easiest course of pathway. What's the saying? Water travels the easiest path it can find. And in this case, the easiest path that the water could travel is back along and into the unit and then out the front of the unit, because that's the exit. And you can't see it. It's above this angle, but it's right. That's the surfboard that was in the frame. So any time this happens, and I'll show you those photos. I think that's probably that'll make it clearer. Let me show you these photos of what the unit. Did I keep them in there? Ah, shit. I know, I shot a video. Where's my video? Oh, okay, I'll show you this. So here is the AC unit on the outside of this wall. Little artifact in there. That's interesting. So what I'm referring to is in this section of the image, and you can see this piece of conduit coming out of this exit, right? This conduit goes all the way along here behind the unit, and patches into this downpipe. Now in this image, what was that noise? In this image, you can see that pipe patched out. Oh, I've unplugged it, of course. So it was going in that hole. Fill the hole. It went into that hole. By the way, this is my finger saying I'm going to cut that pipe off right there. I do have a video of this showcasing it a little cleaner. Where is my video? Let me play this. That should open. Ah, didn't open. I thought it would open it up in the front-facing monitor. It did not. Check this out. This will explain it even better than I can. Well, not explain it, but showcase it. So here comes... We don't need volume on this, do we? Doesn't matter. Here comes this pipe coming out of here. It runs all along the back there. It feeds into the downpipe, and then Bob's your uncle. The water would go down, 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 and disappear into the ground. In this instance, somewhere down here, that pipe is blocked, and so therefore, what's this last video I've got? I've got another video. So therefore, I am gonna jimmy it by doing this. That's your fix. Well, what I'll probably do is I'll probably cut off a portion of the pipe probably there and put like a little down arrow, not a down arrow, a little down bend of the pipe, because that down pipe, that down drain filled up, fed back in, overflowed. So then you might say, well, whose fault is that? Who did the wrong? You could say, well, it's not on the installer, right? However, I will say this, when approaching insurance, they did say that there is something to do with a mandated 2 mil difference, something. They waffled about something to get themselves out of it. The guy who installed it, a lovely Scottish guy by the name of... forgotten his name. I had a... Doesn't matter. Anyway, a nice guy, right? When he came back out, because I called him, sent him videos, and he's like, all right. He said his boss was absolutely fuming with him. He's like, we've had too many issues lately. Go and sort this shit out. I don't want to hear anything. Go and get it sorted. This is ridiculous. When he came and saw what had happened, he was like, it's not my fault. And technically he's right. It's not his fault, because this install, this concept of patching this pipe into a nearest drain pipe, that's pretty standard, right? That's how they do it. That's why they do it. It's neater, right? How did he know that this pipe was blocked? I didn't know. Nobody knew, right? So it's not really their fault. It's not the installer's fault. The onus is more on me to ensure that that downpipe is actively working. But then you might say, well, how could you ever know that unless it rained that heavily? And I'd argue, I'd agree with you. But then again, you could say, well, you could put a hose in there and turn it on and just see what happens. And that's how I came to the realization of what the problem was. I fed a hose. I fed a hose in the top of this drain from up here, patched a hose in there, watched the water come out of that hole, plugged this back into that hole, and then went back inside and watched the water feed all the way in and then come pissing back out the front. So that's how I assessed with the air conditioning installer guy, that's what the problem is. And that's when he sighed of relief and got out of there. Charlotte asked about the insurance. So yeah, so this room had to be gutted. That's why I haven't been here for 2 weeks. I've been haven't had the chance to stream. The only piece of gear that got ruined in this experience, which is ironic, is my Apogee Element 46 audio interface. Why is that ironic? Well, in the last 5 months, there has been times when that interface, either the Thunderbolt connectivity or just the interface itself, has just gone, I'm not going to work at random during a stream. And then you see me have to reset my audio and plug it back. And then you've got to choose the audio interface in OBS, and OBS doesn't like that. And it spits the dummy, blah, blah, bling, blah, blah. So I always had it in my mind that I'm going to update that audio interface. And I was looking at getting the M6 from Motu. And so I did. So that, look, I don't think it's damaged entirely, but there was something funky about it when I turned it all back on. And it might have been that ongoing issue that we were experiencing, or it could have been something in addition to what happened with the water. It's on this side and the water was on that side. I don't know if, and by the way, XLR cables, they're sealed. So if the water came down, which it does go following gravity, if the water fed along the XLR cable, yes, technically it could make its way all the way through to the device. I find that very, very, very strange, or it'd be a fluke if that happened. But either way, I guess this is the point where I ask you, does everything sound okay? Because I am using the M6 from Motu and I've patched it into my system and I feel like it's all normal, but it might be, the levels might be a little higher or a bit lower. The one thing I loved about the Apogee Element 46 was that it had software that came with the hardware, and in the software you could load compressors and noise gates right at the patch point. So you'd patch the cable in and you'd add your compressor and your noise gate right there, and then that'd feed into OBS. So I'm now, instead, sound is fine. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you very much. Instead of using those compressors that I had before, I'm now using the compressor and a noise gate. And there's one other thing, a noise suppression in OBS. So I can't use that software that came with the Apogee. I have to go. And but by the way, the Motu M6 is pretty straightforward. You just plug it in and play. In fact, you don't even need a power bank with it if you go in Type-C, which I am, but I've got it powered in. Elfsar agrees. Okay, it sounds fine. It's actually a little bit more crisp than That's interesting. That could be. Why could that be a little crisper? I mean, you might argue the compressor and the noise gate is better in OBS than the one that came with. I don't know. Either way, I mean, what I'm looking forward to is doing a long form stream and seeing if we get any audio issues, glitches and issues. I don't think we will. Pertsky's there. Hey, Pertsky. Hey, Pertsky. So what I would like to do, I wanted to keep this stream sort of like clean, if you like, or about the topic, which is the AC unit. And then I want to take a break and come back later on today and catch up with you lovely yahoos. Maybe we'll take call-ins or something and hang out. By the way, it's the Christmas season. I've got a home brew that's ready to be drank. It's a Pilsner. It's been ready to drink for about a week and a half now. So it's been brewed and bottled for, that's 7 weeks now. So it should be, 4, 5, 6.5 weeks. Should be pretty good. I wouldn't mind doing that on Kick. Come back later on, do a regular Kick stream, hang out. We can do a call-in because that'd be a good way to test all the audio. I'm sure that there's going to be, restream audio issues, patching that shit back in. Loopback needs to be sorted out. I need Loopback to work. In fact, all it will be is removing the Element 46 from the system and replacing it with the M6 by Motu. It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a while, Elsa. It has been a minute, hasn't it? Pertsky will be sleeping, no worries. We need a give stream, feels like forever. Well, I did throw you all a little curveball with a little IRL stream from Adelaide, from Murray Bridge in South Australia. That was last weekend. Who mentioned that? Who commented on that? Oh, it was the Happy Canadian commented and said, no, it looks and sounds good. I'm a perfectionist, as you know, and I didn't like what I saw when I watched that back. I didn't like how it wasn't clean enough for me. There was glitching when the bitrate would drop, when you're just streaming with one signal, the bitrate would drop and then there'd be this weird kind of, it almost gave me like a lisp because of the audio bitrate. So on the LiveView Solo, you've got separate audio and video, and you can set the different ingest bit rates for both. Whereas just going naked straight into Restream.io or through Restream Studio at that point on your phone, you can't control anything. At some points there, it said I was on 5G, which definitely wasn't the case because the signal looked garbage. I think the iPhones just say, "Oh, that's a 5G connection," and you get excited, but it's not actually any stronger or any faster. Charlotte was in hospital Monday night. Uh-oh, shit. What did I miss, Charlotte? What happened? I hope you're okay now. Did you have an air conditioning leak? Shit. So yeah, we'll do that later on. We'll come back. I've got to keep an eye on the swell though, because this morning on paper, the swell looked rad, and then outside it was just gunk. Okay, so the swell's going down. The wind is getting stronger, but it's from the west. So west northwesterly could be good. The tide's going back out at around about 2 p.m. sort of on the way back out. I don't know. I want to go surfing, right? I want to go surfing. I want to mow the lawn and go fishing and surfing. But I also want to stream, right? Because, by the way, when I had to take everything out of here, I had it in my head, this is the perfect time to fix everything. Cable runs. You saw those photos, right? My cable management is... there isn't any, right? It's just, those are the cables. Get them back there. Now that I've had to take everything out and put it back in, I cleaned everything. I drilled holes where there weren't holes. So before I just like run USB cables around things, now I've got holes where cables go through, you know, the snake in the cable. What else did I do? Oh, I bought these really cool, how do I explain them? You know what a fire extinguisher is, right? Big ass red fire extinguisher that you see in buses and houses and RVs and shit. Well, they got to hang off. They're quite heavy, right? So they got to hang off a little mount on the wall. Those little L-shaped mount brackets, they're quite strong. They're quite wide. They got a lip on them because this thing's got to hang off it and then it's got to be away from the wall. Perfect little L-shaped bracket to screw on the back of your desk and run your cables. So I bought 4 of those, and I've got this perfect cable management system behind my desk where all the cables are off the ground and they're in nice long lines all around my desk. Feels good, right? It's like peace of mind, because if it ever pisses down again in my room and the whole thing floods, at least the cables are off that ground, right? There's no chance of being damaged from water. Man, I even did this. Haven't done this yet, but I bought them. So I don't know if you guys, if I ever explained it exactly. Someone just subbed on YouTube. Nigel. Thanks, Nigel. I think that said Nigel. Thanks for subbing. What have I done? There's something else I did. Oh, yeah. So this desk, it always had... oh, two things I've done. This desk was always like battered up. I think you guys had seen... if I cut to the GoPro, you'll see on the top here, there used to be all these, you know, drink marks. Not from me, from the previous owner, and all scuff marks. So when this desk was outside, I sanded it all back and painted it with this crappy black paint. Looked at it, thought that looks shit. I made a video about it, right? I ruined an ancient banker's desk, because I did. It looks shit. I did 2 more things on that desk. I sat with it for about a week and I was like, nah, I can put up with that. It'll just look crap. And I was like, no, but it always did look crap. It just looks black and crap now. So instead, I bought some vinyl, some vinyl, right? Long rolls of vinyl. And I coated it, or I covered it in white vinyl. And then I got my box cutter and just sliced it all up and had this desk that was white. Kind of looked nice. Trouble with it was, you could still feel all those undulations underneath it because I didn't sand it back. It's particle board, so I couldn't quite clean it up perfectly. So I sat with that for a few days and I was like, I can probably put up with that. And then I was like, nah, dude, this is the chance to fix this crap. The desk is out, you know, the good time to do it. So I went back to Bunnings and I spoke to the dude and he said, why don't you put something like, what do they call this crap? He gave it a name, not masonite. Fuck, I'm terrible with this shit. But he had this stuff that's on the desk now. And he's like, dude, this would fit perfectly, right? I'll cut it to size and all you do is liquid nails it on. Like you glue it on with these liquid nails. So now I've got sound levels, Jerry. Levels. Oh shit. What levels? Am I not level? Am I not level? I feel like I'm level. Hang on, how come you said levels? Levels, Jerry. Oh, you mean the sanding and shit, right? Sorry, I shouldn't have looked at the chat then. It threw me right off. Yeah, so anyway, I put this thing on the top, liquid nails it down, put pressure on it to hold it down. Now I've got perfect desk. Of course, there is one issue with it. The desk is now higher from the bevel. So where the actual desk, where the normal desktop joins this top, you can kind of see, but you can't see it that clearly, but this part is now lower and this part is now higher. So there's actually a bit of a, when you lean on it, you can kind of feel that there's a bit more of a ledge there, if you like. It's not really a huge issue because I'm not typically sitting there, you know, you're not typing for 13 hours like in the old school days at a desk with a typewriter. I'm more, I guess, controlling the laptop and doing it. So it's not a huge issue. It looks good. It feels good. Everything's laid out way better. The other thing that I've got, which I've told you guys about in the past, James, my sister's partner, I was asking him for, one time he gave me a hard case, like a rolling hard case that came with some work parts that he needed or something. And they get these regularly in his industry, in his business. And I said, those cases are the perfect size. They were just incredibly sized for on a desk to mount monitors like what I've got here with my setup. They were the perfect height and depth for my desk. And so I said to James, hey man, next time those come through, can you just hold onto a couple? And I'd like 3 of them. And he asked me what I was doing He asked me what I was doing with them. And I explained it. And he said, I'll go better than that. I'll make you. He said, what's the point of it? And I said, it's to get things at the back of my desk higher than the desk. And it's to get them off the desk, because I was wedging them up with like books and what did I put back there? These yellow chairs that were on a table thing. I was wedging it all up. And he said, so you want more depth on your desk and you want the things at the back of your desk to be off the desk? And he said, what about inside these cases? And I said, yeah, that's where cables will go and power stuff. And he's been, I'll make you something. And what he made me was, and you probably can't really see it, but I'll cut to the camera. It's behind me. Well, it's in front of me, sorry. This here, I'm cutting, and it's not cutting. Hold on a second. I'll just turn it all the way on. Just give me a second. I'll just turn it all the way on. Okay, so this here, it's dark, you can't see very well, but that is a shelf, and all of this crap sits on it. I thought I put that on. Okay, I'll put it back on. Yeah, all this stuff sits on that desk, and behind this monitor is that shelf system. And so all of my, like you can see a power board in there. There's one behind this monitor, behind here. There's also other CalDigits TS3. There's my Motu M6. All that stuff's in there, right? So that's really cool. But the problem, or the concern that I had with it, is that everything's in there and it creates heat, and heat creates potential for spark. Well, heat creates ember. If there's a spark, ember lights fire, blah, blah, blah. So I was never really that stoked with a sealed unit back there. So I just drilled in a few holes in it. But then I looked on eBay and I found that there are air vents. So you can buy air vents, just little screw-in rectangular air vents. They come from somewhere in China, right? So I just bought 4 of them. I'm going to just literally drill the amount of, it's just plywood, just drill the holes and just put these air vents on the top and 2 on the bottom. So hot air rises, cool air comes in from the bottom, pushes it up. We've got little circulation there. Safety. What was that noise? I don't know. Safety is what I'm after here. Safety. By the way, I see 6 watching and 0 likes. Is that right? Refresh my trouser. Have I got no... Hey. I see 4 thumbs upses. Okay, I hadn't refreshed my trouser. 4 upses of the thumbs. Thank you for that. I will get out of here now. Yeah, I'll come back and do a kick stream later on in the day if the surf isn't firing. If the surf is on, I'm going surfboarding, and I'll do a stream later on. But yeah, I just wanted to come out here and also apologize for being away for so long. Not that I need to apologize for it, but you know, it killed me. Now, just before I do go, I could have done IRL streams exclusively, but I didn't. Merry Christmas, you. Oh, by the way, I've also got my second monitor set up, or my third monitor in this system. I don't know if you guys knew about that, but the way, and someone asked me a little while ago, how do you run monitors with a MacBook Pro in OBS like this? This one's not part of it, but this monitor, this monitor, this monitor, and this monitor are all connected to this laptop. The way to do that, super simply, is using the CalDigit TS3, and I've also got a CalDigit TS4. I got two of them. One of them, the old school, or the older one. The other one is the newer one, and they have DisplayPort out, and you can run as many. Essentially, you can run as many monitors as you want because they're not bound by the hardware busing that the MacBook Pro. If you didn't have the CalDigits, you could only have one HDMI. It's only got one HDMI port, right? So I've got that set up. Anyway, that's another time. But technologically, pretty stoked. There are some limitations with that. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this is so that I could do this, which I hope is going to be visible for you. Up on that screen up here, if I cut to it, that is the audio in OBS. And I like that because I can clearly see my levels. The problem with that, and this is an OBS issue, when you click off OBS, that goes away. It's so stupid, right? What a clunky setup. Like, watch this. I'll cut back up to this and you'll see it on screen. So it's up there now, and I'll click off OBS. I'm going to show you a video, and it disappears. So instead, I've got my Stream Deck up there, massive. I don't need that. But then if I click back on OBS, it comes back up. Pretty clunky, right? And I've been on the OBS Discord saying, people have asked about this forever. And I've just said, look, why can't, you know what? I should do a separate video. I'll do a separate video on this because I've been away for a while and I've got things on my chest and I want to get them off my chest. I want to get out of here and go fishing and mow the lawn for the time being. Hey, thanks all for being here. Elfsar, season's greetings and happy holidays and all those things. Have a great weekend all. Thank you, Pertsky. And thank you for the comments. I know I was kind of rambling here. I had to deliver this spiel and I just didn't want to get off track. Sometimes when you make a live stream or a video with a specific title, people get angry on YouTube if you don't hit the core content first. So I wanted to just deliver the content and then talk shit. If you like talking shit, come back later on when we're on kick.com and we'll talk shit all the day because I'm all about that. Homebrews and talking shit. Hopefully you can join us. Have a good time, you all, and take cares as. See you on the next stream skis. Flipsides. Jack stream next week. Yeah, it is. Jack behind me. Shit, yeah.